Welcome to our Scholars Forum for September. And if I'm back and forth here at the podium, this isn't recording, I hope, then that's fine, right? Okay. And I'm really glad that we continue to have our video setup equipment, because we at some point in time we're going to continue, whether we have one or two or whatever, because we're looking at down the road doing something more exciting with our videos, and in terms of like webinars or some type of other type of presentations other type of ways of getting this information out, because we know that the information that we share around in the Scholars Forum each month has an impact on the community at large. So why keep it in-house? And even at some point in-house, there are those who probably would be here if they knew what was going on here every time. It does impact what we do. So where we are today is looking at publishing and research and publishing and what that has to do with anything. I was looking at it and just talking with Ralph about possibilities here, seeing this as an opportunity for those who are interested in this area of research and writing. As E.B. White says, I admire anybody who has the guts to write about anything at all. We all know E.B. White, and we all know. And as I said to Ralph, I said, there's not a lot of, to my knowledge, scholarship, research and writing going on here, and the folks who are really inclined to be thinking that way, or even engaged in the process, are those people who've done it and are looking to do more of that in the future. And so then I started thinking about what I do, and I guess Ralph had thought even a little bit more about what I did in this regard with this e-publishing business and being an editor of a magazine that we're going to talk about a little bit later. I hadn't really thought about, and even though we've been doing the publishing thing, I hadn't really done the link in my mind about what I was doing and how that might have some impact on what we do here every month. And so then I started thinking about it even a little bit more, and I thought, oh my gosh, we really do need to share what's going on here, and if people wanted to take advantage of that avenue, then they can do that. So that is, those are some sort of, I'm rambling a little bit, but those are some of the reasons that we looked at having this opportunity today to talk a little bit about e-publishing, a little bit about what I do in that regard, and share that with you, and invite you to be a part of that at some level if you want to. And then ironically enough, when I came from a meeting this morning that we had and get back and looking on my email, I get an email from one of our colleagues here, and it was about opportunities that exist for faculty, for professional people, and that kind of thing, and where all of that is going these days. Hi, Claudia, good to see you. And she attached an article that has to do with limited opportunities, and many senior professors feel stuck, and it's in regards to faculty. And this is an article that was in the Chronicle of Higher Education, and it's dated September 11th. And when I just looked at the title of this, and I said, yeah, that's a very true statement. I agree with that 100%. And then something just said, go ahead and read the article. And I started to read the article and found that it was so in line with what I'm thinking about sharing with you today. That's just how things line up sometimes, And I thought, well, let me just share this, because I went. Let me see. I think it's the next slide I want to get to. it's in line with what I had already put together as a purpose for today's session. As some professors are required to publish a certain amount of research as part of earning tenure and or a promotion. And some choose to do research and write articles as a form of self-expression because of intellectual curiosity, or perhaps to just justify being bearing faculty status. So, but for whatever reasons, professors might want or need to see their own work in print. This presentation then will offer opportunities that should be had. The potential to increase their chances of success in publishing their research. And that then brings me back to this article I was referencing just a couple of seconds ago. Again, it's the title, Fewer Paths for Faculty. It begins like this. At some point in many professors' careers, they want to move. They want to upgrade to perhaps a more prestigious university, a bigger salary, and better facilities. Some professors want to go where research collaborations are more plentiful. Others want to get away from toxic politics in their current departments. So that's basically saying sometimes you just want a different climate, a different environment for whatever reason. Not reading this all, I just highlighted a couple of things that I'm going to share with you. So among the faculty members who are the most mobile these days are top professors looking to escape embattled public universities. Professors whose research, experience, and reputation in their field can be used to jumpstart a new program elsewhere. And as always, scientists or other scholars who bring with them plenty of grant money. Okay. Another part of this says that when faculty or professors decide to make a move or decide to restructure what it is they're doing, they recreate their careers by going into totally new areas of research. So this thing is on what happens with the research. This one professor in here says that it is his research that keeps him going. I can share this link with you if you're interested in it at the end, because there are testimonies from a number of different faculty at a number of different universities in this article. As I said, I'm just going to thumb through and share with you the highlights that I pulled out as I read it. There's this one person named Mr. Millard says the ease he had in landing a job at Purdue was linked in part to his being a member of the National Academy of Sciences, which is among the highest honor for scientists. They were clearly out hunting academic members, and he was well aware of the fact that everything that he had done in research was getting looked at. He was getting looked at because of that. Okay. There's a person who left Wisconsin because even though they didn't want him to leave, we know what was happening in Wisconsin with this whole business, and he found an opportunity in Phoenix, I believe it was. No, Texas. And when they found out he was going to leave because had all this research and he was able to put together programs and everything, they wanted to like double his salary, but then the opportunity was better where he was going, and the fact that he did not want to be looked at as a double salary person while others had not gotten a raise in X a number of years, and he just knew that the situation would be a good one should he stay there and accept that. So he was he thought that moving too, that his best work would be even in front of him rather than behind him. And probably the last part of this I wanted to share with you, I think, yes. It says here that sometimes junior faculty members have an edge when it comes to getting a new academic appointment. Assistant professors who have made substantial progress on their research agenda and are good teachers can have mobility that their more senior peers don't. And that was from a person out of University of Michigan. I say even when they start to look for other jobs and they're looking at a more prestigious university or whatever, if they've done commendable research, it shows the people who are looking at them that they're on the right track for tenure, and that you still have the issue of tenure at these other colleges and universities. While we don't have it here, if we're ever thinking about making moves like what we have examples of in this article and others that we can think about, having some good research and having someone look at your research and that sort of thing, it just puts you in a better light than you otherwise would be. So that's really sort of where we're going with it. The purpose of this sharing today and that sort of thing. So everybody knows Mark Twain. He said, write without pay until someone offers pay. If nobody offers within 3 years, the candidate may look upon this as a sign that sowing wood is what he was intended for. And actually, even though I support it, I'm not big into that. So maybe it's sowing wood that I'm supposed to be doing as well. Before I actually get into then the whole e-publishing arena that I want to speak with you about today, let me just stop here for a minute and ask this question of you. What do you think? I mean, while we know that there is no real requirement of researching and writing at Fisher, what do you think about this idea in general, and what do you see? Do you agree with the folks who were cited in this article or what have you, or with just what you know? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with most of what you read. It's been my line of thinking for some time. As a new faculty member, I'm probably one of those that write for self-expression and just intellectual curiosity that you have there. And I just think that it's a responsibility of somebody in a faculty position to be doing that kind of thing. It keeps you on the cutting edge. It adds value to you, not only within the institution that you're at, but also, like you said, if you're seeking to be promoted or looking to go on to somewhere else, that's something you have under your belt. So even though it's probably not a requirement of the institution that you're with at the moment, it's something, if you're a forward-thinking person, it's something that you should probably, I would think, be doing to help you into the next round, because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
Absolutely. Good comments, thank you. Anyone else?
I think there needs to be overt support for people who want to do this kind of writing. What I'm thinking of primarily is that the matrix needs to be more flexible, so that if someone, let's say someone is really working on a book or several articles, that constitutes a lot of time. And I sense that it's treated more like as an add-on, that's something you do on your own, rather than a responsibility of a faculty member. Whereas in other institutions, even in my previous life, it was negotiated where I'm going to put my energies this year. And it could be revisited throughout the year, and you could reduce your teaching load, or just, that's all you want to do is teach. And so, I think that we need to have that kind of support.
Okay, very good. Yes, Mike?
I had a dean that said to me when I was an assistant professor, the only people that don't publish, present, and promote are people that don't have any ideas. And I hated him for that, but then it made me think a little bit about the people that didn't publish, present, and promote that were in the institution where I was. And frankly, I don't think they had very many ideas. And so I wanted to be sure that I didn't fall into that pit of being perceived by others as someone who didn't have ideas.
Yes. Wouldn't that be
But
tragic?
you included present also, and I'm not so sure that it can. I agree with you. I'm not so sure that's really a scholarly activity.
Well, yeah, maybe I'm reading it off the slide up there, but it certainly isn't a very nice thing to sit here right now and say that there are people in this room, not this room, in this building, who don't have any ideas because they don't publish, present, or promote.
Yes,
That's not a very collegial thing to say.
it isn't.
On the other hand, if you're a behaviorist, and some of us are, if you don't publish, present, and promote, how do we know if you have any ideas?
Now, go ahead.
I have a question for you. Like I have been observing and appreciative of your participation and involvement over the past 3 years. As you all know, today is the beginning of our 4th year at Scholarship Roundtable Program. And you have always been here. When you are in town, you were always here. So my question to you is that, we have a host of full-time part-time program professors here. And when I look at your bio, and I follow your background over many years, I look at your bio in terms of your body of scholarly work. And it is huge. You all know it's huge. And so my question to you is that, take a few minutes, take a second to compare yourself. What is it about you that keeps you involved in producing that? And secondly, what is it that encourages you to attend these monthly sessions over beginning now the 4th year when I can count on my half of my fingers the program professors that are here that have attended 1 or 2 of these sessions over the past 3 years?
And he's smiling.
Yeah, well, it's always easy and probably a fool's game to talk about yourself. I come to these meetings to answer one of your questions because I think they're interesting. I really do. I learn a lot. And it is sort of invigorating to me to hear what people have to say and have the opportunity to say things myself. Sometimes I have to bite my tongue because I think I talk too much, but that's why I come. And back to this same department head, he used to say, you got this huge body of research, maybe you're doing it wrong. Maybe you should have a narrow body of scholarly activity that shows that you're more concentrated on really solving the problem. So, part of it's a leadership question where we should question and maybe in a scholarly way be questioned about what we do as professors and never feel like we're doing it right when maybe others might say, Simon said, you got 200 articles, but they're on all different topics. Maybe you should have 20 on one topic that shows you're really in-depth investigating those things. So, and what that means is, just like he says, if you don't have any idea, how do I know if you have any ideas if you don't publish? Well, that's not to say I don't have any ideas. That's to say that those are gives you ability to reflect on yourself, and that's what we should do. I frankly, I'm shocked. I think we're missing the boat here in the Fishler School because we don't do these things more. Because we have thousands of students all writing dissertations.
Oh, I wanted to,
and
yes.
We could take that body of literature, and if we were doing it right, we could turn that into an opportunity to really change the various fields that these dissertations represent. But they all go off in 1,000 different directions, and I don't get that. I think we're missing an opportunity. And we in ITD do the same thing. We try to focus on some research agendas, and frankly, that's not an idea that has a lot of play around some parts about asking students all to participate in a research agenda so that there's a body of literature that's produced over 5 years that really can make a difference in the field. And that bothers me a little bit too, but then it's also a challenge. I think it's something that it's nice to see people who are, I'm looking at the 6 of us here. It's nice to see that there are people who are interested.
That's what I said earlier. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Excellent, and ties right into a couple of other things that I was thinking about too, and which is setting the stage for me sharing this platform here, is that in between time too, when I picked up this article that I just shared highlights from, I also took a look at a dissertation that's on my desk right now, and that one too is the chair. Makes a difference here, and this is why I'm saying this. The chair is an old school kind of person. You might, the old school kind of people did not look at a dissertation as being 30 pages. Okay? And so...
God, if it's not 300 pages, and it's dealing with construction.
And that one word title.
That was the introduction.
And so this dissertation that's on my desk, it's about 130, close to 130 pages, and you don't see that very much. And that's not huge, according to what we've done in the past. I remember way back, somebody got a dissertation that was delivered in a big box, and it would fill the whole box because they were talking about it, how much it took to send it in the whole 9 yards. That was it. And so I picked it up to start to read it. And naturally, I'm interested in any issues that are dealing with diversity and everything. And this one is about counseling and behavior kind of things and using concepts that are totally brand new to me, and how that can be incorporated into counseling and what they do at the high school level. And I'm intrigued with the content. It's very well written, but I have slowed myself down to really read it, for not just for what it's supposed to be in terms of the dissertation, but also for the content. And I think that ties into what you're saying, Mike, and even without even thinking about that, I'm thinking about all the dissertations that are out there, just excellent stuff for the most part. Now, some of them are on the website, on NSU's website, from the time that they were called MARPs here, Major Applied Research Projects, to the time that now that they're called Applied Dissertations. Some of them are there. But there's good stuff there that we don't utilize in ways that we can. And there was another point you just made, but I lost my train of thought with talking about the dissertation. The research business. It was interesting to me, and then I'm going to go over here. It was interesting to me that coming from the meeting this morning, that where we have had an opportunity to look at the strategic plan and to see, how the thinking is going forward. And there's a lot of references in there to research. I wanted to ask more questions, I guess, because I knew this was coming up today. I wanted to share, but also knowing where we are in this. What does all that mean? If we're really thinking about now that what they call that type of dissertation, not dissertation, but another doctoral program, directed doctoral program. If that then is up and running, I don't know if you guys have heard the concept directed doctoral program. That's a discussion. And we have the PhD doctoral program here, and we then have our EDD program here. What does all of that really mean? Okay, and then when you have research, the word research inserted into the plan, what are you really and truly looking for? One of the goals, strategies, or what have you, was to raise the percentage of research to whatever number. I can't remember what that was. So my question was, how do you know what you're raising unless we have a database that shows where the research is for people who's here now, so that we can have that as the reference for comparison to how you're raising it over here? Then the answer was that there's information in folks' file. You know what that file is called?
That online thing?
That file that's kept here on what you're doing. It
doesn't go very far back.
Whatever it's called.
I forget the acronym, but that's the
ISP or something like that.
Yeah, but that's the one that Wayne does, whatever he's, and then there's that, and then there's something that somebody else mentioned, You remember, was across, Steve, I think, was saying that there's Steve Thompson.
Collection of the announcements
Yeah,
about people making.
but now, I would have followed, I asked a few questions until I decided I better stop because it sounded like the Smiley Show. You should have been there, Mike, it would have been the Smiley.
The legitimate portion was that how can I determine how can I determine Susan's productivity for research unless I know her current status? They try to do a numerical.
Yeah, the percentage is numerical.
So you have to know where I am numerically present in order to measure if I have made progress from thereafter. And so I'm not convinced that they have a definitive measure of the faculty's body of work currently to, at some point, measure from this point to that point what progress they have or have not made, which is what Delos' question was trying to ask.
Yeah, but I go back to, like even with presentations, we're limited in the number of conferences we can attend. So I've had to turn down where I've been accepted to present at national or international conferences unless I'm willing to pay it out of my own pocket. And sometimes I can do that and sometimes I can't, And so to me, professionally, that's extremely embarrassing. And I'm not sure how that might reflect on me as a professional as well as the institution, that after I get accepted, I can say,
Yeah.
It happened to me once last year. I got accepted to present at two conferences and then I couldn't go. And personally, it's such a blow to me, and I don't know the institution takes it, but personally, it's like my name's out there, and I just feel like I've let these people down. And
Exactly.
I mean, one, it's all been written up in the programs, and then to call and say I can't come because I couldn't afford to go on my own, and they weren't going to cover it. So I think it's stuff like that needs to be taken into account because it's a demotivator.
Well, that is part of the problem. How can you hold me responsible if you do not support
that's what
my
I'm
pursuing these?
And it rolls back, I think, even further, and this is a really good conversation to have because I think this needs to be, you know what, we need to share this. And, because if you're looking for research, but then first of all, define what you really are looking at as research for the School of Education. But if you're looking at research as how we've talked about it this morning, it's building yourself as a professor and, it's your intellectual inquiry and so forth, which is where we should be, and we would have something to build that percentage, whatever it was, but it's based on these kinds of things. But you have to have a clarity as to what they're thinking and what we're thinking. So you'll know whether or not you're traveling in the right direction. It may be boiled down to, once that clarity is there, that you say, okay, that's not really what I'm thinking about, so I'm just going to keep improving myself. It would be my own choice for individual growth, for my future, and what I do for myself, as I move on with my professional life. Is it going to benefit just you as a professional, or the School of Education, or both? So those are especially again with, reflecting on the session this morning, and just so happen, because questions like I ask about, where are you starting to measure and everything, that needs follow-up. But I wasn't going to. I just wanted to let everybody there know that someone was thinking along those lines, but you need to delve into that and get that really, as they say, thrashed out so that everybody's on the same wavelength as to what is expected. Okay, and getting on the elevator, when I was coming up, I got on an elevator with Wells and Kern and Dr. Wells, Dr. Singleton, Dr. Kern, and someone else. And we were talking about the need for that and the need for more, because the dean said that maybe we would have one or two more. And so on the elevator, I said, we need more than one or two more. We need to have these on a regular basis. And he said, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Then Dr. Carter said, yes, because people need to feel like they're part of the loop. They can be part of the discussion, and that will be helpful to have, all of this input as you continue to, develop what it's looked like for the School of Education for the future.